Hey y'all, and welcome to Culture Cult, where we are one podcast with 195 countries to explore. I'm your host, Marie, and this is where we spin the globe and learn about the history and music from whatever culture we land on. At the end, don't forget to check out the Culture Cult playlist on Spotify. It's awesome. I've been finding amazing bands all over the world and putting them on a playlist on Spotify. So here joining me today is my friend Josh. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You are popping your podcast cherry.
Ooh, and it feels good.
It does. It does.
Yes, this is so exciting. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so thank you for having me.
Yes, and aren't you going to start a podcast too?
I am very much looking into it. I think it'd be really, really fun, and I've been craving a creative outlet, so I'm looking into it, and you've kind of inspired me. So, you know, I look up to you.
So, thank you.
But eventually you're going to be looking down, baby. Because I'm going to take over this podcast empire. Don't get it twisted, okay?
Delete this all right now.
And for all you folks out there, please bear with me because my voice is a little scratchy. So I probably sound raspy. And we're just going to roll with it.
That's sexy.
Oh, thank you.
To get into this episode. So this is now our fourth episode of Grease. Mm-hmm. And just how I start off each podcast, I want to say a full disclosure. The point of this podcast is to learn. My theory is it's okay to not know something as long as you want to learn. So I'm not a historian. I'm not BBC. I'm not NPR. I'm none of that. I just do my best researching each country. But if I'm wrong or if you have any comments, please email culturecultshow@gmail.com with your sources, and we will dive into any new information. So yeah, now at this point of Greece, we've had a really deep dive in history. Well, I'm about to unwind all that. And this story is all about scandal.
Ooh.
This is a real life story.
Scandalo.
And that's why I invited Josh.
Ooh. Yeah. because I'm very, very scandalous. Apparently. Haven't you heard the rumors, honey?
So this episode's be a little bit different from the other Greek episodes. I essentially was just Googling people from Greece. I was like, Greek people.
Who came up first? I'm curious. Was it Zeus?
I'm like, who's that? No,
oh my God.
So I found a Greek aristocrat. Her name's Tina Lavanos.
Ooh.
She has a very mysterious death. And the more I unraveled about her story, the more I realized this is a whole package. It's not just about the death. It involves multiple affairs, love triangles, some presidential, and a long life feud of arch enemies, all surrounded by a disgusting amount of wealth. So.
Interesting.
And we're doing this while drinking some, I couldn't find Greek wine, so we're going to be drinking Spanish wine. No hate to Greece, but we did eat spanakopita.
We really did look. We really tried. We tried to find some. We couldn't, so we settled for some Spanish wine.
Yeah, I love
and
Spanish
it's tasty.
wine.
But we did have spanakopita.
Yes. Delicious.
Amazing. Honestly.
Crunchy, delicious, creamy, spinachy.
The feta, the spinach, the fila bread. The crispiness, the toastiness, it was tingling, it was crunchy, it was creamy. It was everything you want when you have spanakopita.
Yes.
And needless to say, I'm satisfied and smiling.
I was like, Josh, let's eat this on the podcast. He's like, no.
Well, I was concerned it was going to sound like ASMR because I was like, there's very distinctive
crunchy
noises when you're eating spanakopita. Needless to say, that alone would be enough, but then my moans would have taken it over the top, and this would have been rated X. And I didn't want to turn your podcast into a porn cast, okay? Because I definitely was enjoying that spanakopita way too much.
I think we both were. That's why we did it off screen. So just letting you know. You can get the spanakopita from Trader Joe's. Again, please sponsor us. Okay.
But if you want the footage, you can go on my OnlyFans because it was that good.
Your whole page is just spanakopita.
Me eating foods.
It's like flakiness all over your body.
Anywho, that's not why we're here.
We're like, okay, so this story, I'm not going to lie, it has a bunch of characters. So Josh, please interrupt me if you're like, what the fuck is going on? Because there's a lot of different love triangles going on, a lot of different deaths, like a lot of different people.
Okay, a lot of shapes. Get it? Obtuse angles. Geometry.
This is good. I don't even know what you're saying now.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I don't even know what I was saying too.
So, to get started. On October 10th, 1974, Tina Lavanos was found dead in her hotel suite in Paris. Her life was glamorous. It was full, but her death is still argued as a mystery. She was a beautiful blonde, aristocratic woman who had married two of Greece's wealthiest shipping magnates. Okay, their names were Aristotle Onassis. These are really Greek names. Aristotle Onassis and Stavros Niarchos. So at this
Stavros.
So at this point in the story, we have a beautiful rich woman, even wealthier husbands, and an unprecedented death. What? It's that wine, y'all. An unprecedented death. But that's the beginning of the story. So let's dive into
The
each
plot
person.
thickens.
It thickens.
Ooh.
Let's dive into Tina. So Tina was born in 1929. She is also the daughter of Stavros Livianos, who was in charge of a shipping empire. Woo, hold
Another
up.
Stavros?
I know. This is getting already confusing because now there's two Stavroses, both in charge of a shipping empire. Her daddy was named Stavros. And
Wait, her dad or her daddy?
Both. She has a daddy and a dad, also both named Stavros, and they both are in the same business. So I just want to clarify: there's two different people with the same name.
Thank you, because I was like, huh? What?
I know. I was like, you're like, this story's getting gross.
I was like, what?
So she was Greek, but lived the life of a modern day Blair Waldorf. She spent most of her time in New York, London, went to the best private schools, went to international resorts, interacted often with royalty and celebrities.
Swanky.
She was living the life. Which I kind of want to ask
up,
this
baby.
question. Yeah. Okay, Josh, would you rather be born like Tina and just be swimming in money and like going to private schools, private planes, private dinners with celebrities? Or would you get the money later, but not possibly? It's a tough decision.
Well, I have my goggles, so I might as well be swimming with money, baby.
Yeah.
Call me Michael Phelps. Yeah. I mean, that just sounds nicer, but I do, appreciate... I think people appreciate money more when they've worked and earned it. So,
Yeah.
But it would be nice to be, raised with that money too.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I would carry that money well as a child. It would really go to my head, and I would be a shit person.
If I'm being honest, probably the same.
Yeah.
I think money just does that to you. When you have that substantial amount of privilege and power, it just
only the few get to experience that life, and she did as a baby from the beginning. She knows nothing else.
Like she was in the crib. She had Gucci bags in her crib. Think about that. But yeah, I think working towards and getting it later on, probably the best of, because you have dignity, and then you can work towards getting that, and you appreciate it so much more.
So I posted this on my Instagram, just the look of Tina.
Mm-hmm.
She's dressed always to the nines. She's in fur coats. She is blonde. She has an infectious smile. And she was very, very well known for her beauty. So much so, she had two grown men fighting over her even by the age of 14. That's disgusting. But we got to talk about these men. Remember, there
archaic values.
Archaic values.
Old, crusty men
I love
fighting
me
over
some 14-year-olds. That's why.
Girls just trying to live their lives. In Greece, no less.
Mm-hmm. I get she's rich. She's in middle school.
Men be tripping.
So let's talk about these men. I'm going to go first into Aristotle Onassis. So he's born in Smyrna. I feel like I'm not saying that right. So sorry. That is present-day Turkey.
Ooh, gobble, gobble.
But as he's known as Ari by most, if you're cool with him. But when Turkey invaded his town in 1921, he left for Buenos Aires, Argentina, with only $60 on him, leaving school and his father's idea of him taking over the family cigarette business behind. But it was cigarettes that actually made his fortune when he overheard a new movie was featuring them, and he started branding them towards women. Okay. So he's known to be very charismatic. He is money hungry. He's shrewd in his business skills. And from cigarettes to ships, he bought 6 ships during the Great Depression and at a very low cost. And he made deals during World War II when they were needed the most. So he knew those ships were going to be needed, and he bought a bunch, and he became really wealthy. So that's where his wealth grew enormously. And he had homes in all the most glamorous cities, luxury yacht, a private island, his own airline, a fleet of the biggest oil tankers. I mean, he was a billionaire.
Wow.
He went from truly nothing, a war-torn city, just moved to a different country on his own and became, I don't know, Elon Musk or something. I'm trying to compare that. Like, he's wealthy.
And this is her father.
This is one of the men that hit on her.
Yes.
Remember, there's two men that hit on her when she's 14?
Stavros.
There's Stavros.
One of the Stavroses.
Not the daddy. A dad, Stavros. And this is Onassis. Mm-hmm. We're talking Onassis here. There's two men that hit on her when she's 14. Okay. So he became really, really, really wealthy during the 1940s. I don't find him attractive. I'm not trying to insult him. I just don't think he's cute. But I guess he had that charisma.
There are pictures?
Yeah, let me see if I can show you real quick. Oh. This is him. I'm sorry, but no. His eyes are really far apart. Okay, is that rude?
He has a lot of enemies. He has to see them from both sides. They're coming from all directions.
That's actually brilliant. I love that. So he's not attractive, but women flock to him. And not to cut into the story too deep, but he did eventually marry Jackie Kennedy. And
I was going to say that looks like Jackie Kennedy.
it is Jackie Kennedy. So some tea, he befriended Jackie months before JFK's death, and they became lovers after his death, and they got married on his private island. And even JFK said publicly, that man is with my wife.
That is wild.
They were both sleeping around.
Hey.
I mean, you're the president, so I guess. But so the takeaway from Ari, again, one of the men that's hitting on Tina, is that he's self-made, he's driven by greed, and he tends to take on relationships with women with the same drive for greed. He collects women.
Toxic.
Yeah, very toxic. Now we're going to talk about Stavros Niarchos, the zaddy. Not the dad.
The other one fighting for...
The other one fighting over the 14-year-old girl, Tina Lavanos. So he was born in Athens in July 3rd, 1909. He too would grow up to be a shipping tycoon. Unlike Ari, he was born into a very wealthy family. He went to law school at the University of Athens. He joined the Greek Navy. He already had a shipping empire built before he proposed to Tina when she was 14. And at this point, he had already had multiple failed marriages. He and Aristotle Onassis were rivals in romance and in the shipping business. But Ari even said about Stavros, he said, no one has ever been so smart or so lucky to make the right moves at the right time as Stavros Niarchos. So they had kind of had like mutual respect, but they genuinely hated each other. So he too would become unbelievably wealthy during the war times. So they were really weirdly competitive. If one bought a yacht, the other one bought a bigger one. And if one bought a private island, the other one bought a better one. And the two men were from very different worlds, but they had the same interests in money and in marrying Tina Lavanos. So,
well, sounds like a deadly combo to me.
Yeah. So back to that marriage proposal. So both men approached Tina's father, Stavros, being the first when she was 14. And Stavros, dad, suggested that he suggested his other daughter. He's like, please date my other daughter. She's older. She's more well-equipped. Her name's Eugenia.
Well-equipped.
But
can you extrapolate on that?
Apparently, I'm just saying she's slightly older. But they didn't want her. They didn't want poor Eugenia because I guess she wasn't as beautiful as Tina. So then
they throw her to the sidelines.
Yeah. So Stavros, he approached Tina first, but he got denied. The dad was like, "No, you need to marry my other daughter." But Ari is very persistent. He approached Tina and he courted her for 3 years. He took her sailing on the yacht. He bought her expensive gifts. And then after that 3 years, they married in 1946. Imagine being in high school and all your friends are like, we're going to go ice skating. And she's like, I'm going to go like suck on my boyfriend's yacht.
I honestly, truly cannot even imagine being in high school and just being like, oh, I'm being courted by these two wealthy men.
Who are 40 years old.
And then her friend Kathy's probably like, oh, I'm going to go skip some stones in an alley behind Athens. Are you kidding me? She's like, oh, I'm going to go have a Euro while you're swimming in the Mediterranean Sea, like on this huge ass yacht. Are you kidding me?
I know.
I'd be like, fuck off, Tina. Or Tia. Which one is it?
Tina.
I'd be like, fuck off, Tina.
Yeah.
God. I'm sure all the other girls loathes her.
Oh, yeah. She's already lived 1,000 lives by the age of 14. She's lived more than everyone else.
It's honestly wild to think about. You're doing some crazy bougie, swanky stuff.
So Tina at 17 and Ari at 40, they get married. Now this only heightened the epic rivalry of the shipping tycoons. And later Stavros married Eugenia, the older sister. He gave in.
Oh no, he gave in.
Oh yeah. So now they have a really weird family dynamic. Ari is with Tina. And his enemy is dating her older sister.
You know what, though? This is the unsung hero of the story, though. I feel like Eugenia is being thrown under the bus. She's raggedy. She's dusty.
She is.
She's been waiting. What has she been doing? Twiddling her thumbs, crocheting a sweater for grandma? What is she doing this whole entire time while Tina's going on these yachts?
Listen, that's rude.
Does she have a life?
Tina's apparently prettier, so she's not getting all that attention. I'm sure Eugenia wants to go on the yacht.
See, but this is the problem, though. She probably doesn't have a developed personality because of her looks. Yeah. Eugenia probably is multifaceted, whimsical, enchanting, probably super smart.
Yes. Tina's just like, hi.
Oh, yeah. Zeus just went to his party last week. It was really great.
I feel for Eugenia because she's watching her sister get courted.
She's still married a very wealthy man.
But the awkwardness of this family dynamic, that these guys hate each other and they married these two sisters. So now we're going to move on in their lives. So Tina and Ari end up having 2 children together, Alexandros and Christina. But they are always gone from their children. These children grow up to be known as brats and spend most of their time with the governess more than their frivolous parents. Okay, I got that from, what's that like trashy like British website? The Guardian.
Oh, the
So
Guardian.
the Guardian's calling them brats, but that's kind of rude. According to the Guardian, Alexandros and Christina are brats because their parents are never around.
They left us at home with all this money. All I got are cash bags around me. What am I supposed to do?
So Ari and Tina's marriage did not last long. So as they were both having affairs, such as Ari was having an affair with the most famous opera singer in the world at that time. Her name's Maria Callas.
Andrea Bocello? Que scandalo.
Wait, let me show you Maria Callas. She's very different from Tina. So she's very dark and handsome. You know, Tina is very infectious, blonde.
Mm-hmm.
They love to collect women. He learned early on in his life that seducing women is the best way to get what you want. And I say that because remember how Turkey invaded Greece?
Mm-hmm.
His father actually went to prison with a lot of the men in that town. And the way he got his dad out of the Turkish prison was by flirting and seducing the guard. So he learned early on, that's how I can get what I want. So then when he went to Argentina, remember how he blew up on the cigarette business? Because he flirted with a model and he was like, why don't you hold these cigarettes for me? I'll get you famous. And so that's when he learned, that's how I get what I want. I seduce. So women to him are a challenge, a collection item, the minute he sees something better. So yeah, he loved Tina at that moment because she's very wealthy. You know, you have the biggest, best opera singer in the world. Screw Tina. I'm going to date Maria in front of everyone. He even invited Maria Callas and her husband on his yacht with Tina. And it became very known how involved they were with each other. And so they were just flirting, probably fucking in front of Tina and Maria's husband. And you're on a yacht in the ocean. You can't go anywhere. Think about that. That's just awful to me. Awful. So she left the boat.
Interesting scene.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. So
I know. Yachts bring out something in people.
It does. So Tina eventually left the boat in a rush before the trip was done.
What did she have a lifesaver boat or a buoy or what was she swimming on?
She fucking jumped and swam.
She's like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm just gonna. And she just dives into the water and she finds a fucking dolphin and just swims back to shore.
The Maria Callas' husband's like, well, what do I do? I want to get off the boat too. Within a year, both Maria and Tina filed for divorces from their husbands. Tina then marries an Englishman named John Spencer Churchill and were married for 10 years until divorcing until 1971. So, she lived on...
More divorce.
So we're going to reel it back. We're going to bring it back to the other shipping tycoon, Niarchos Stavros.
With Eugenia.
Thank you.
I got you.
There's a lot of names in here. I don't want to confuse
anyone. A lot of names. And I'm having a hard time, but I'm going to keep up one way or another. Okay.
Okay. So with Niarchos, he made international headlines with Tina's sister. Okay. When Eugenia was found dead on Niarchos' private island under mysterious circumstances in 1970. So they wondered if Eugenia was murdered because she did have bruising around her neck and chest, but the coroner decided on drug overdose over depressants. And the family stood by Niarchos and they stood by his side and just agreed together that Eugenia just died of depressants.
Even though she had bruises around her neck?
So we'll get into that.
Depressants don't do that, honey. To have something do that to you.
Yeah.
Physically outside your body. Okay? Well, I'm definitely going to want to dissect that. So let's grab a scalpel and get back to it.
Yeah,
later.
we will. But still juicy stuff going on with Tina and Ari. So Tina did the unexpected and married Ari's forever business, financial, romantic enemy, and also her dead sister's husband, Stavros fucking Niarchos.
What?
Yo, she married Niarchos after her sister died on his private island. Not to mention that's
where she died.
Yeah, why do you have to date your dead sister's husband who probably murdered her?
Out of spite. She did it out of spite, probably.
Probably, yeah, because she hates Ari.
Yeah.
When your hate for Ari is bigger than your love for your sister.
But she sounds spiteful. She probably did it and then just fooled around again.
I want to know what's going on in their heads because these people are freaking crazy.
I really wish that we could just have cameras everywhere throughout history and just see how things actually went down for a lot of these stories.
At least it was
it'd be wild.
So years since Stavros first tried to marry her when she was 14 years old and many, many marriages between them. So Ari at this point has dropped Maria Callas and went straight for the prize, the golden prize of the 1960s, Jackie Kennedy. And which broke Maria's heart. She truly loves him. So they started dating during the end of John F. Kennedy's life. And when JFK died, they got married on his private island. And so they had a strained marriage from the beginning. And so when he got bored of Jackie, he refired up his relationship with Maria Callas, the love of his life. Maria Callas, the opera singer. So creating a really big standoff and tension between the famous opera singer and the presidential widow. So, for instance, Maria and Ari were seen photographed at a restaurant in Paris. And the very next day, Jackie flew out there and insisted she be photographed in that same exact booth.
I don't even understand what her motive was there.
I don't really know. But there was this tension from across the world between them. And whenever interviewed and asked about each other, they just both had very short and cold responses. So, at this point, tragedy follows in a very quick manner. Tina and Ari's only son is killed in a plane crash in Athens, March 1973. Biographers of the two will report them as living dead people. And Christina, their daughter, is what's left of their very shattered family. So yeah, tragedy keeps going. So then that leads us back to that very fateful day of October 10th, 1974 in Paris, where Tina was also found dead in her apartment from excessive drug use of depressants.
That sounds like a quinky dink, but I don't feel like it is. Did Tina have bruises around her neck too? Because that would be very suspicious too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So my other question is, where was Stavros during both these deaths? How could two sisters die of the same death with the same husband? I did look up, did Stavros get investigated after Tina? This is a quote from The Guardian.
The Guardian.
It says, Eugenia went to bed and swallowed 25 depressant pills. When Niarchos found her in a coma, he did not call a local doctor, but insisted he had a company physician helicoptered out from Athens. It was 3 hours before the doctor arrived, and Eugenia was long dead. However, the doctor refused to sign a death certificate due to the severe bruising found on Eugenia's body and neck. A police investigation followed, which led to Niarchos being arrested for involuntary murder, which is like manslaughter. After a protracted legal wrangle, the charge was eventually dropped. Niarchos always insisted that the bruising was the result of his efforts to revive his wife. For her part, Eugenia left a note, written in English, quote, "For the first time in our life together," she wrote, "I have begged you to help me. I have implored you. The error is mine. But sometimes one must forgive and forget." The suspicion hung over Niarchos was in no way lifted by the fact that he offered to invest $200 million in Greek shipyards and refineries just a week after Eugene was buried. So, hush money.
Yeah, seems highly suspicious to me.
There's more info, I think, on Eugenia's death than like Tina's. I definitely could have done more research. He did get arrested for Eugenia's for a little bit. He's rich. Like, what do rich people do?
Pay off their problems.
Why would he want to kill Eugenia? Or why would he want to kill Tina? Like, that's what I'm saying. Did he get money from this? Like, I feel there's not enough info on the internet about this stuff. This is these are very famous people.
That's wild. I've never even heard of this story before. I had no idea.
Right? It's famous people, not a famous story. I also want to know, what does the daughter Christina think? She has lost her aunt, her mom, her brother, and now she's stuck with Ari.
That's tragic.
And all I know is they say that Christina was scared or hated Niarchos, but we're not sure why.
Maybe
Probably.
For the subject that we're talking about is potential involvement in the murder of both his wives. Seems like something I'd want to distance myself from.
Yeah.
You might be a murderer, and I don't want to be in your general vicinity. Okay?
I don't want to wake up dead in a hotel or in a private island.
And that's her dad, right?
No, her dad is Ari.
Ari, okay.
The womanizer.
Niarchos
is her stepdad.
Yeah.
But he killed two people in her family. So.
Stepdad / ex-uncle.
Oh my God, you're right.
Because they be marrying.
All
in that family.
Oh my God. Okay. So Ari was later admitted to a hospital in Paris due to a fatal illness. And meanwhile, Jackie Kennedy kept up her schedule and her skiing trip in Aspen, but instructed that Maria Callas must not be able to visit him bedside. So Ari's dying and Jackie Kennedy's over there. And she's like, whatever, but make sure that bitch does not go and see him. I'm not going to go see him, but make sure that bitch is not going to go see my husband.
The pettiness. I love it, though.
This is from The Independent. It says, quote, Callas, Maria, did in fact visit Onassis on his deathbed. She was brought up to his room secretly through a service elevator and sat with him for an hour as he lay in coma. It was her last goodbye. Onassis died a few days later. In his will, Onassis had reportedly reduced his wife's share of his fortune to a bare minimum, but Jackie contested it. In order to avoid a protracted and very public legal battle, Onassis' daughter Christina agreed to give Jackie a full and final settlement of $26 million. Maria Callas was left nothing.
Oh,
she's the most like consistent woman to love Onassis, and she got
she
left.
Really pulled the short stick out of that bundle.
Yeah, she. Okay, yeah. So,
oof.
To finish up the story,
hey, she came out alive though.
She did. So Jackie would
no
later
depressants involved in her death, right?
So
maybe,
Jackie would later go into publishing and die of cancer. There she goes.
Jackie,
yeah. And Niarchos died of poor health and was buried next to Eugenia. Side note, their son, Konstantin Niarchos, would later be the first Greek to climb Mount Everest. He also would later die in London from consuming and then eating so much cocaine to enough to kill 25 men.
Holy crap.
So Niarchos and Eugenia's son ended up just eating enough cocaine to kill 25 men. Like, I couldn't even figure out what that story was about. This story just keeps going.
Literally just keeps going.
So
25 men. How much cocaine is that? Like, how much you have to consume?
I don't even, if he's eating it at this point. If Eugenia and Tina didn't really kill themselves, then there is a drug issue happening in this family. But yeah. So to end, so strange how all these lives came together. Tina, a wealthy Greek aristocrat. Ari, a refugee from Greece, made billionaire. Maria Callas, a singer from Queens. Stavros, a wealthy Greek aristocrat. And Jackie Kennedy, the 35th president's widow. They were all connected through the wealth, lust, and death. And that's that drama.
Wow. That is so interesting. So it's still a mystery. I mean, I guess they just called it overdose with depressants and that's it, right? Because
he's free. He's got free.
Is he alive?
No, he died.
Okay. Niarchos, right?
Niarchos.
What's his first name again?
Stavros.
Okay.
Yeah. All I have to say is all these people are toxic to each other and I don't want to be friends with any of them.
Yeah. I'm definitely not adding them on Instagram. That's for sure.
So just for quickly, the sources I got, The Guardian, The Independent, apnews.com, biography.com, The Greek Reporter. And if you have corrections, you know a lot about the story that you want to contribute, again, email culturecultshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to send us your travel stories. We read them out together and we read out your travel emails. Again, Josh, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Wow. I just wish I had brought some popcorn, to be honest, because that was one entertaining story. I was hanging on the edge of my seat and I just wanted to hear more.
And I bet you think about Jackie Kennedy a little bit different now. I do.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you see these prolific people throughout like American history and you think of presidents and their spouses and you just, I don't know, you think of such high class and you just realize that a lot of them are human.
We're all human.
Well, they're all human. Not maybe. They are definitely all human. And they have flaws and imperfections and a lot of them have things going on that you'd be like, what the heck?
Exactly. We put these people on these pedestals and it's like, I don't know. I think it's
no pedestal for you.
Not pedestal for you.
No, come back down to the earth like the rest of us. Okay? You're trash.
You're trash. So that was the story of Tina Lavanos, Eugene Lavanos' death, and the love triangles in between.
Very juicy.
Very juicy.
Very, very juicy.
And this was our last and final episode of Grease. I think went out with a bang.
Opa.
And make sure to check out our Instagram because we're changing into a new culture, new country. And check out our Instagram to see where I spin the globe and where we land on next. And I will see y'all next time.
Woohoo.